Hello, thank you for attending our webinar today. Today's topic is Amazing PPC Tactics. This is actually a presentation that we gave at SMX Advanced Seattle a couple weeks ago. Lisa Sanner is a Senior Client Manager at Point It and will be taking us through extensions. But before we get started, a little bit about Point It. Point It was launched in April of 2002. We are Seattle's largest independent search marketing firm, leading with services like paid search management and SEO. Last year we managed over $30 million in media budgets, and we service clients across all verticals and revenue models. And before we get into the presentation, we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So this presentation is being recorded. The on-demand version of it, as well as the slide deck, we will follow up probably either late this week or early next week and email everyone who's in attendance. We encourage everyone during the presentation to ask questions throughout. We'll try and answer all of the questions that we can at the end of the session, but anything that we miss, we will follow up with you either late this week or early next week. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Lisa, who's going to talk to us about Google Ad Extensions.
Thanks, Preston. Like Preston said, I'm Lisa Sanner. I'm a Senior Client Manager here at Point It. I've been doing pay-per-click for more than 6 years now. Before my paid search life, I have done product management, online retail marketing, and merchandising for .com, as well as traditional advertising, media buying, and primary market research for more than 15 years. Here at Point It, I manage a team of client managers for a large global brand account, and I personally manage our US Google account, so I get to try a lot of these fun extensions out on an actual account. So I'm learning by doing, just like the rest of you, in paid search, and I'm not just here talking about it and blogging about it. I actually utilize these ad extensions in my client's account. So before I get really into the nitty-gritty of Google Ad Extensions, I want to advise you that you should have a fundamentally strong pay-per-click account before you just start adding extensions on to your campaigns. That means you have a solid architecture, you've done some ad copy testing as far as A/B split testing, you have tight ad groups, you have strong calls to action, you have done keyword negative expansion, you have a good handle on your bids and your cost per clicks and your metrics in order for you to meet your company's or your client's business objectives. So you really understand the levers that you can adjust to reach those objectives. So to me, Google Ad Extensions is purely merchandising. It's really all about making the most of every pixel you can get on that search engine results page. And I think of extensions as kind of the icing and the decorations on the cake. So make sure you have a really good cake recipe before you start decorating. So today I'm going to talk about ad extensions in general, as well as offer some of the latest news that I've heard about the different types of ad extensions, and hopefully offer you some actionable tips based on my experience. So this isn't a beginner's how to set these up type of webinar. Google's Help Center, Inside AdWords, other resources and blogs are great to understand how to set these up. This is more about how Google Ad Extensions can work for you in a strategic way and how they work together. So as we are all keenly aware, text ads on Google.com have become a whole lot more than your standard 24-character headline, 35-character description lines, and display URL. You know, writing some ad copy and having a strong landing page is a really good place to start. But on the 2011 search engine results page, a text ad with nothing else doesn't really stand out in the crowd. Google has released a lot of different types of ad extensions that are available to advertisers that you can use to augment your Google.com search campaign. There's site links, there's product extensions, there's call extensions, there's location extensions, there's seller ratings appearing on ads, and there's alphas and betas for a whole lot more. If you're one of the lucky few to be whitelisted in some of those betas, there's some really interesting stuff that probably will be released in the next several months. So about a month ago, I was getting ready for a camping trip, and I was thinking about buying a new camp stove. So I started doing a few queries. So I queried camp stoves, and this is the search engine results page that I got. Now remember, this is an everything page. This isn't a shopping page. This is your standard Google.com search engine results page. And if you take a look at it, it's kind of a mess, but there's a ton of opportunities for users to get right to a product page and buy something. On the first ad, we have some seller ratings and Google Checkout. Now, Google Checkout, as far as a tag on ads, has gone away. Google is now not showing Google Checkout tagging anymore. But beyond seller ratings on this page, there's site links, there's product extensions, there's product listing ads. There's one advertiser, Amazon, that has an ad with a seller rating, but then they also have a product listing ad on this page. So as you can see, there's a lot of ad extensions that are available to you and that are available to your competitors on your AdWords campaigns. So given you, as an advertiser, you have all these options to choose from, I think you really need to consider the whole picture of a well-designed search account. And so you might ask yourself, as I did, how do these extensions work together? And how do they possibly not work together? So about 9 to 10 months ago, we have a weekly client manager meeting. We get together as a company, for client managers, to talk about what we're testing on different accounts, what the engines are releasing, what we're seeing on the search engine results page, and try to learn from each other. So I told my colleagues that I had turned on product extensions on one of my accounts, and I saw a huge drop-off in my Sitelink traffic. And somebody said, me too. And then another client manager said, me three. So, it seemed like a pattern. It seemed like something is going on here as far as these extensions not really working together in a correlated type of way. So we started to track what extensions we launched and what happened to what we're seeing on our ads on search engine results page. And we started really identifying some interesting trends and correlations. And what we found is that there seems to be a definite hierarchy of ad extensions. And in fact, turning on one type of ad extension will trump another type of extension on that same query. So testing different extensions simultaneously on multiple client accounts, we found that there's a pattern as to how Google will display your ads, your extensions, and what bumps out what, a hierarchy, a kind of like a trumping order with these ad extensions. So this is the order that we've found from our testing. Now, of course, you have the alphas and the betas at the highest priority of this hierarchy. Pretty much Google will tell you don't have any other extensions on your campaigns if you're in an alpha or a beta. But I think from what I've seen, they do bump out everything else. And then we have two-line site links. Two-line site links are a little bit different than one-line site links in that they're a higher quality threshold, and I'll get to this later in the presentation. But two-line site links are a little different from the other extensions in the fact that they are served with multiple extensions. So what I found particularly interesting for my account that I was working on is that product extensions and location extensions beat out my one-line site links. And my one-line site links had become really important to my accounts in terms of revenue generation. So the caveat here with all of this is the current status quo. And this is what life looks like on the search engine results page when we were testing these extensions, in June of 2011. The caveat here is that Google is testing, and they're testing a lot between description lines and headlines, domains and headlines, instant preview, +1, annotations, the number of clicks on ads now I've seen. I've heard there's nearly an experiment going on 90% of queries lately. So that said, I've seen some query level exceptions to this order, but for the most part, this hierarchy has held up on the accounts that we manage. To weigh the trade-offs, I think you really need to understand and evaluate each type of extension and what you could have on your AdWords account. So let's start with my personal favorite, and that is Sitelinks. Sitelinks was released in fall of 2009, and I think it's one of the best all-around features that Google has developed since AdWords Editor, and that's saying a lot. Sitelinks can increase your click-through rates, they can increase your quality scores, and decrease your cost per clicks, especially if you are a brand and you own the top spot on that page. They can really help build your ad rankings and create high barriers to entry on your top placement keywords. But the big thing here is that you need to track them, and you need to make sure that they convert and they're not just costing you clicks. Google purports that they can increase your click-through rates by about 30%. I haven't personally seen that great of an impact on my accounts that I've managed Sitelinks for. I've seen more around the 10 to 20% lift in click-through rate. But to me, Sitelinks are more about conversion rate. They're more about profitability metrics. They're more about revenue per click than they are about click-through rate and driving more traffic to your site. They're about driving a better, more qualified click to your website. So here we have two examples of a two-line site link and a one-line site link. Basically, you want to use site links to gain more users interested in your ad and by showing more text, and you want to get users deeper into your site more quickly, reducing the navigation path. So here you can see that Sears is using their site links for promotional messages. It appears to me they could probably keep their headlines and their description lines fairly static, fairly constant, and then they update their site links with different promotional seasonal messages. Microsoft Store, in the second example, is using their site links to get users to the various versions of Microsoft Office. So while a user might query Microsoft Office, they may know that they want Office for Mac. And so by having Office for Mac as a site link, you can get people directly to that page so they don't have to get to your site and navigate and find Office for Mac. So again, the Google search engine results page is a work in progress. In the past couple of days, I just got the screenshot yesterday, I've been seeing some 3-line site links, so 6 links now on a few of my branded keywords. So in this campaign, we have about probably 6 to 8 site links, and so 6 of them are now showing on our ad, as well as a location extension. So you can really own a lot of real estate and augment any organic listings you have with utilizing multiple extensions on campaigns. Starting in June, and Google announced that they've released what they're calling embedded site links. Now these will be site links that are directly in the description lines in your ads, and so if you have a site link that is exactly matches your text in your description lines, you can get that as a site link. And so in the embedded site link example, this is Google's example, get free first time setup support would be the site link that they would have on this campaign. And that's an embedded site link. So given all these new developments, it's obvious that Google wants you to fully utilize all 10 of your site links that are available per campaign to truly maximize your click-through rate and your performance. As I said before, two-line site links are a little bit of a different breed compared to one-line site links. They have a very high quality threshold and will mostly serve on just your branded keywords. But you can add a lot to your ad if you have two-line site links, especially given the fact that they're served with a plus box. You can own a lot of real estate with multiple extensions. Here's one of our long-standing business-to-business clients. So check it out. We have a call extension, we have product extensions on this ad, and we have two-line site links. So if you consider the organic result in conjunction with all the things you've done with your ad here, we're really offering the user many choices to get to exactly what they're looking for. So given that two-line site links can serve with other extensions, you might want to consider pulling the keywords that you know get two-line site links into their own campaign so you can add more extensions to those keywords. In contrast, if you know keywords that get one-line site links and you don't want any other extensions such as product extensions to bump out those one-line site links, you might want to pull the keywords that you know get one-line site links into their own campaign and not turn on any other extensions. Or you could just let Google choose for you on what shows, and that's not what I'm advising whatsoever. So a basic summary of the different site link formats available to you. I've just put in a table. Really, your two-line site links have the highest quality threshold. They're your brand terms, they're your 10s, they show with 2 or more lines of site links, and they do show with other ad extensions. One-line site links are also high quality scores. They're a top position, not a right side ad, but they do not show with other ad extensions. And embedded site links are also top position ads, not right side ads. Those are going to be site links that show in your description lines, but I have yet to see whether they do or do not serve with other extensions. So you can add up to 10 site links per campaign. Short text tends to work better. Site links are now in the latest AdWords Editor 9.0. That was released in May, so it's becoming much more efficient to manage those site links. So you should create a unique tracking tag for each site link. Here's what Google recommends. Personally, I like to have the campaign name and a description of the site link in my analytics tags so that I can go directly to my analytics reporting and see the performance on each site link, and analyze it by campaign or analyze it by the actual site link, depending on what I want to look at. Google's now released some new value track parameters. Back in, I believe, May, they released these, that you can actually track your site links now down to an individual keyword and match type level. So here's a tag that we have found to work with Google Analytics. They have a new value track parameter for site link. It's bracket copy colon bracket, but we have found that not to work. So if anybody gets that to work for them, I'd love you to email me later and show me how you set up your tracking tag. So that's all about site links, and there's a lot to know about Sitelinks. I'm going to go through the other extensions, but go through a little bit more quickly. Product extensions are from your linked Merchant Center account. You need to be aware that product extensions serve on your keyword search ads. Product listings are separate and aren't keyword specific. So product listing ads would be an ad like this AC lens ad over here. That's a product listing ad. Vision Direct and 1-800 contacts and this discount contact lenses, these are all product extensions and show as either plus boxes with images and prices as an extension on your ad, or they now we've seen a lot more of these product titles and prices on ads. So these are for merchants only, and it's through your Merchant Center account, previously known as Google Base. So you can either just add all products that are in your product feed to your product extensions, or you can try to do some targeting and optimizing through use of product filters for product extensions. The trick with that, we found, is that you must copy exactly the attribute into AdWords Editor or into AdWords UI from your product feed, or your product extensions won't show at all. So the product filtering can be a little bit tedious and tricky, but it can provide more relevant products on your queries. So location extensions are a fifth line of text or a plus box on Google.com, or on Google Maps they show as a text ad with addresses. They are not on search or display networks, and you can set these at the campaign level. You can upload locations into Google Places or through Universal Business Listings, or you can manually enter them into each campaign in your account that you want them to show for. And they're now in AdWords Editor, which is really great that you don't have to do it all through the AdWords UI. If you have a verified listing, that gives you a little bit of more merchandising on your Google Places page. So at the end of June, I think I just saw this yesterday on one of my accounts, Google has started to charge for the clicks on these directions links. So even though that click doesn't actually link to your website, you're still going to be charged the cost per click. Even that goes to a Google Maps page. Google has now decided to start monetizing these location extensions a little bit more by charging for the Get Directions clicks. And you can get a feel for what that's going to cost you. If you go into the Dimensions tab in the AdWords UI and you look at a free clicks report, that shows you previous clicks on those Get Directions links. Another type of extension is call extensions, and Google says that a Kelsey Group study has found that users who make a call are 10 times more likely to convert than users who just click on a link and go to your website. So call extensions can be pretty effective for you. Google has now started charging $1 per call on computers that are using call extensions. We've just seen that in the last couple of days on our accounts, that they are starting to charge that $1 per call. So that's something you want to consider. They use Google Voice numbers that then automatically forward to your business number. You can no longer manually enter your own business number and have it be served as a call extension. So for mobile, you can see the phone number is under your ad. If the user clicks and dials on that phone number, you'll be charged, we think you'll be charged the click cost. At least that's what our Google reps have told us. So on computers, it's the $1 per call. On mobile, it's still the click cost for the call extension, if that number is called. The big thing about call extensions is that you really need to be able to track what happens with those calls and how that converts for you. So having a really good call center tracking to attribute actual revenue to the calls is really important, especially since now Google started charging $1 per call. So a couple things you should be aware of about extensions in general in the AdWords UI. If you go to the Add Extensions tab and you look at the number of clicks on your extensions, like here's Sitelinks extensions, this 73,682 is not the number of clicks on the extensions. It's the number of clicks like on that campaign that had those Sitelinks extensions anywhere on that ad. So it could have been, the click could have still occurred on the headline. So the thing, with any of the extensions is you really need to use your own tracking URLs for performance measurement. There is some cool things in the AdWords UI as far as reporting. In the Dimensions tab, you can look at free clicks. So you can look at plus box expansions, and this is where you used to be able to see the clicks on the Get Directions links on location extensions. Also at the campaign, ad group, ad, and keyword level, there is a drop-down box that has the segment by, and you can choose click type on that. So so in this example, I have this ad group, and you can see how many users clicked on the headline, how many people clicked on the product extension, how many people clicked on the Sitelink extension, and then how many times our phone extensions were served. Now this was before the $1 per call. So when I took the screenshot, but the segment by click type is a really useful AdWords UI reporting part. So I'm not going to talk a lot about seller ratings. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of them. They're not really considered an ad extension, but they are an extra line of text that shows up on your ads. They're kind of a trust seal or credibility indicator, and from what I've read, Google says they give you about a 15 to 20% click-through rate lift if you do have them versus not having them. They're at the account level, so they're for merchants only. Google uses various sources to source these reviews and these ratings. They use resellerratings.com, they use ePinions, they use Price Grabber, they use Google Checkout. So once you have at least 30 or more reviews and you have a 4.0 average rating or higher, you would start to see these seller ratings on your ads. So on the top position ads, on the center ads, you would see the star ratings and the number of reviews. On the right side, you only see the stars. So here's a big overview of everything I've just talked about. Here's a summary of all the Google ad extensions that are available to all advertisers right now. I like to see things in table and compare them against each other so that when I think about a new campaign, I can kind of think about, okay, what would be a good extension for this campaign? Where do I need, where could it serve on the search engine results page? If I know I'm only going to get right side ads, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to spend a ton of time on site links. It might make more sense to work on location extensions or product extensions. And it's also really important to know, if they serve as an extra line, if they serve as a plus box, and if they're like a two-line site link, if they serve with other ad extensions. So really, when it comes down to it, it's all about aligning these ad extensions with your business goals. If you have strict performance KPIs for pay-per-click, you have strict return on ad spend or strict, profitability targets that you have to hit, you might want to use extensions that you can track the online revenue through. You might not want to use location extensions or call extensions if you don't have the tracking in place for that. If you want to drive conversion rate and you want to get users more quickly to deeper content in your site, I'd say site links and product extensions are a great way to go. If you want to drive online to offline, so you want to use your search campaigns to drive traffic to your brick and mortar stores, location extensions or call extensions would be a great extensions to use. If you have a complex sale and you have a well-trained call staff, call extensions would be great for you to use. $1 per call may be more than, maybe cheap if you get that qualified customer to have a lengthy conversation with a call staff. So these ad extensions are almost like integrated channel management, but within the paid search channel. So all of this is all about how are you going to measure success. Do you have analytics tracking for online? Can you get reported results from call centers or retail locations? And if you have a non-value metric, can you convert that to a dollar value so you can, weigh the trade-offs against each other? So what you should consider is, look at the search engine results page. Do queries on your best keywords. Look at your organic listings. Look at what your competitors are doing. And try to achieve some differentiation, but with performance, with conversions for these ad extensions. So you also want to be thoughtful about your campaign architecture if you want to use multiple extensions, and think about how they trump or don't trump the others. So the way I look at all this is I want to test something, I track it, I learn from it, I try to make a decision that can optimize performance, and I repeat the process. And that is all I have. Preston, do we have any questions?
Oh yeah, now we're going to move into the Q&A section. If anyone has a question at this time, go ahead and write us, and we'll see how many of these we can get to. But the first question, Lisa, was you had mentioned that Google said that there was a 30% boost in click-through rates with extensions. What sort of increases have you seen in the day-to-day?
Well, for site links, when I look at all of the clicks that I've gained through site links on some of my accounts, I've seen a 10 to 20% lift in click-through rate. To me, like I said, site links isn't really about driving more traffic. It's about driving qualified traffic deeper into my site so the conversion rates are higher. From what I've read in other people's blogs and what they've tested with some of the other extensions, I think you can count on at least a 10 to 15% lift on any of these extensions. And it's really incremental. It's kind of like once you get a good baseline, it's all about tweaking and adding a little bit more and adding a little bit more, and and trying to stand out in the crowd.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. The next one was, so it seems like in this presentation we covered a lot of e-commerce. What kind of extensions would you use for lead gen?
Yeah, for lead gen, I think, so a lot of these extensions are kind of like, product search, e-commerce, lots of product extensions. But I think there are some extensions that could be really utilized for lead gen and B2B clients, and particularly like site links and call extensions. Site links, I think, if you have a demo and if you have different kinds of white papers on your site, maybe your ad is for a certain white paper or a certain event coming up. But maybe you have some other content that might be really interesting to a user if your headline and your description line don't quite match what they queried. You really use site links to offer some of your other content that may be really interesting for the user. And also, like for call extensions, if you have like a really high margin sale, and you have a well-trained call staff, and they're just like dying for qualified leads and really good calls. Call extensions might be a great thing, and dollar per call might be really cheap if you look at it in the grand scheme of things. I think with call extensions, you know, the thing about that is having the tracking in place to be able to track through maybe a long sales process, a 3 to 6 month sales process. Having a really good CRM system in place is important.
Okay, Lisa, I think that's all the questions that we have for now. Once again, if anyone has a question about the presentation, or maybe you're stewing on it and something comes up, please feel free to go ahead and email us. We will be sending out the presentation in an on-demand format, as well as a copy of the deck, either later this week or early next week. Pointit does monthly webinars on topics relating to search marketing, so any ideas about something that you'd like us to talk about, also submit that because we'd love to hear it. And we want to say thank you for everyone for attending, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. Thanks.
Thanks.